Hello and welcome to Business Spotlight. Today we are joined by the awesome Parminder of Drawing Desk Architecture. Hi Parminder, how are you?
Hi, I'm very well, thanks. Hannah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you. Let's dive straight in. Please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What it is that you do and how long you've been doing it for?
Yeah, so currently I run Drawing Desk Architecture, which is a local organisation in Coventry for the past 7 years, and we're starting our 8th year. And prior to that, I had a 9-year career in architecture and construction. Yeah.
Oh wow. So architecture, is that been your passion for forever?
Yeah, so I grew up in a construction environment. So I was exposed to the way buildings were put together. And I think I have a natural sort of creative spark from one of my parents. So I sort of combined the two and went into architecture. I think it was quite natural for me to be in architecture.
Yeah, destined it sounds. What motivated you to start your own business?
So there's a bit of a story because I didn't actually want to start a business.
Okay. That's a bit of a story.
Yeah,
Tell me
so
more.
what happened is a personal story which I don't mind sharing. So I was working full time at a national retailer as a store designer. So that job was brilliant team. It's a very high performance team as well. So it's important in terms of my journey to experience high performance, so I can implement that in my own company. But what happened was the company started to take a bit of a copy and paste approach to our work. So we were getting new stores, and they were basically saying, we want you to use the blueprint and just copy and paste it into this new store layout. So as a designer, for us, that's professional retirement. Basically, that's the end of our career because we can't do that. So I left there, and then I did contracting, which I did not enjoy, for about 6 months. It was good money, but not good as job satisfaction. And it was actually my ex-partner at the time who suggested, why don't you actually start your own thing? And up until that point, I'd never ever considered having my own business. So if you like, I kind of fell into it. And to be honest, I thought about it for a couple of days and I could not find a reason not to.
Right. And were you
So
looking? Were you looking really hard?
I thought, you know what, let me find a reason. Okay.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't. And then after that, I just thought, you know what, let's just do this. And it was the right time in my life. Like I said, I had a bit of savings. Although I had no business experience, I'm one of those people that if I've got a sort of something in mind, then I go for it, you know. So I don't really, I'm not really afraid to take risks, and with the fallback option being, well, I can just easily get a job if it doesn't work out. So that was in my mind, that was my safety net. So yeah, honestly, you know how you get people who say, I always wanted my own business and this and that. I was not one of them. I just literally, by coincidence, I kind of just went into it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that segues brilliantly into my next question, because if it was something that you were almost resisting, but something that you've obviously continued with, has it been everything that you hoped it would be?
Yeah, I mean, obviously starting with that journey, I didn't really have any hopes or expectations. I just kind of dived in. But I would say, looking back now, I would say it's been a lot more than I could have actually hoped for, because what I wasn't aware of, that it helps you grow so much as a person, as well as a professional. You have so much opportunity for growth running your own business. So that's the thing that I'm very happy with. And now after 7 years, you know, I've realized that it actually makes the best use of my top 3 skills, you know, leadership, management, and culture building.
Yeah.
So they're the 3 things that I enjoy the most, that I'm probably the best at, and I can implement all 3 quite easily into running my own organization. So yeah, that's it. Honestly, it's a lot more. And obviously you get, most business owners will say it's the freedom, you know, being able to run your own firm, make your own decisions, and that's also really quite unique as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's quite selfish, really, having the opportunity to not, in a good way, to not just build a business, but also personally develop as well. So that's a running theme with a lot of business owners that I've been talking to. That the hidden gem behind the hard work of running a business is the fact that you grow so much as a person. So
I
that,
mean, 100%. Like, for one example, like architects, really, we're holed up in a studio or we're out on site. But in terms of interaction, that's about as exciting as it gets.
yeah.
Or you might do presentations, I suppose. But really, in business, it kind of forces you to sort of get out there and talk to people. So that's one skill that I've definitely developed, and most architects who run their own practice probably have developed is the sort of social people sort of skills.
Yeah.
So that's one example. There's loads of growth that's happened. Yeah.
Oh no, I love it. What do you do that makes you stand out in the industry, Parminder?
Yeah. So this is an interesting one. When I saw this question, and I thought, what's our USP? What is it? What's our angle? And
Mm.
the answer is understanding, really. So with architecture, it's very easy to put a building design, to put a building up. It's very easy, actually, in terms of the thought process.
Right.
But what we do, I would say, differently is look much deeper. So it's something that I call 3D. There's two parts to it: 3D, third layer design, and 5D thinking. And third layer design. So first layer is the things that you see with architecture. So it's the materiality, it's the outside, it's the design.
Yeah.
Everyone can see the first layer. The second layer is the vision, the project. So a lot of projects don't have a vision. It might surprise you, but they don't. Some of them do. So that's the second layer where the architect and the client and the stakeholders have gone to the second layer. But
Mm.
then the third layer is purpose. So achieving the greater purpose behind the project. So obviously the client's usually the driving force behind that, but as architects, we want to also be in line with that and, in sync with the client in terms of
Mm.
delivering the purpose. So when we're designing, we're starting at the third layer, Hannah. That's the thing that I think we do differently. And that affects what you do in the design anyway. Um, so there's third layer design, and then also it's 5D, what I call 5D thinking. So 5D, so everyone knows 2D floor plans, 3D is a
Mhm.
building model. So we all know that. And then 4D is site context. So if you've got a piece of land and you're designing and developing it, then around next door to that land, there's going to be something there, roads or other buildings or landscaping. So that's the site context, taking that into account. That also informs the building design.
Right.
But 5D takes even one step further, which is people, which is community. So how can this one side connect to the whole area? It's not always possible. Like if it's a residence, for example, it probably doesn't need to. But if it's a commercial building or an office building, how can you design this to actually connect to the area? So
Mm.
one example we had very recently was a commercial site in Rugby, and it's a developer project. So it's like a large multi-unit building, residential
Right.
building, and they had this derelict outbuilding next door to it, and it was derelict to the point where the roof was caved in, and basically they were just looking to demolish it and leave it as amenity space for the residents. But actually, after we did the research, it's a very central location. And what we realized was if you made use of the outbuilding as almost like a community center, then you could actually, without affecting the residents, you could actually have people come in and use that space as like a community hall, basically, like a village
Mm.
hall almost, where they could hire it for a yoga class, an arts class, a training center. And that's an example of 5D thinking, because there was nothing like that in that local area. So, and because it's in a central area, there's high density population, so there's enough demand there for people to use it. So that's what we do differently. I'll summarize it by just saying understanding, basically. Yeah.
That's amazing. I think, and that's really powerful. And that's your thinking, is it, Parminder? You came up with that.
I've not Google searched that whatsoever. I don't even know if those phrases exist. They probably do. I don't know, but I've never I've never researched that. That's just purely from me. Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And it's got a lot of there's a lot of alignment there with running a business with the purpose and the vision. And having the impact on the community. So each of your projects sounds like they are you think about them as individual businesses. How are they going to have an impact on? That's wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is the commercial project in Rugby finished?
It's in the early stages yet.
Right.
So it's in the funding stage, and we're actually moving towards technical design as well. The client for that is actually quite big on PR. So once it's been confirmed and it's on site, and I'll be able to share quite a lot.
Yeah.
About that. Yeah.
Yeah. What an amazing project to be a part of and to be the driving force behind as well. That's amazing. Thanks, Parminder. What would you attribute your growth to, would you say?
Yeah, so the growth, quite a good one to share. We've achieved year-on-year growth for the last 5 years as a small organization, which is great. It's enabled us to invest in ourselves, in our team, also in equipment, and so on. So, really, how have we managed to do that? I think it's internal focus on our projects and our development. So really, when I'm thinking about how are we going to win work, how are we going to receive commissions from clients, and the kind of commissions we want, like the one I described, it's really exercising our skills within that project, Hannah. That's the best way to put it. It's showing us our creative flair in that design. And the rest of it, as you know, works on word of mouth. I'm very proactive in delivering the customer service myself. And the clients love that. And also we're very good at project management as well. So a lot of architects, as a comparison, might just focus on a certain element of a project, for example, the design stage. Some of them might go into technical design, but around that, in terms of a business sense, there's a lot around that. And that's me. That's what I like to do. I like to project manage the whole, the whole holistic viewpoint rather than just the actual architecture. So, how have we got that growth? I think it's internal focus. It's when we're working on a project, how can we add value to the project? What can we do that the client hasn't even thought about? And that example I just gave you there is probably also covered with that as well. That client never even thought of it, Hannah. And when I said it to her, she was absolutely amazed by it, and she loved the idea. So that's what we need to do to get growth is add extra value, I think.
I love that internal focus. I've written that one down, Parminder, because that's really important. It's really important that you have the opportunity to open somebody's eyes to the possibilities, opportunities, and different designs that are out there. So I think that's wonderful. Thank you. How do you balance? I mean, it sounds like you're super busy, and I think the fact that you like to manage the entire project from start to finish, how do you then balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
You just got to be organized.
Got to be organized.
There's no secret to that, Hannah. I'll be honest. There's no higher level thing that I'm going to bring to this question. It is just literally you have to be very, very organized. And I can give you one example is we use a certain brand of phones that have the Notes app. So that app allows us to create documents that just on our phone, by the way. This is not on desktop or laptops or anything, just on your mobile. And we can all edit the document. It's a very simple thing that everyone knows about, but to have it on your phone and be able to do that and share your daily and weekly setup is very, very convenient. So everyone knows what I'm doing, both at work and also at home, and vice versa for the people in my inner circle, both at work and at home as well. So it's just little things like that that need to you just need to do it and be very sort of consistent in that as well. Consistency is key. So for example, if I'm going around the holiday, I'll check that whole diary and make sure everything's up to date before I leave, and vice versa, even before I get back, to make sure everything's up to date. So you've got to think in blocks, really, like 3-month blocks, as you know, Hannah. You can't just think weekly or daily. It's got to be more than that, and that allows you to have a picture as a business owner that these are the things that I need to focus on.
Mm.
So yeah, it's just staying organized. And to be honest, I suppose I'm quite natural like that. I'm not really, I've never found that difficult. That's something I suppose maybe it's down to architecture and the training that I've had over the years. I suppose we have to have quite a lot of that anyway.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that's coming from my past, but either way, I find that quite easy, whereas others find it difficult. So yeah, just organize. You've got to stay organized. You've got to be up to date with everything that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no world-class insight there. It is what it is, you know that one.
No big secret. However, you're absolutely spot on in that there is different variants of ability when it comes to organization. Now you are incredibly lucky, maybe with the fact that with your architecture training, and that you've got it in you. It's almost in your DNA. You've got quite a big team though, Parminder. So how do you transfer sort of the need for organization throughout the whole team? How do you communicate that? Is that one of your values? Is that something that you have to keep an eye on?
Not necessarily. I don't think I need to keep an eye on it. I think it's more because you can tell really, Hannah, you know, once you know your team and they've been with you for, say, more than a year, you can kind of, you know each other, and also at home as well. So it only takes 12 minutes to get to know someone, I think, and you know. So in terms of you know, how do I know? To be honest, I like sharing, actually. That's the thing I should say. So as a business owner, I'll sit down with my staff, and if I feel it and I see that they need some help with being you know, more efficient and balancing their life, then I'll share some tips.
Yeah.
And it depends how it's received, whether you know, what impact it has on their performance, but also within the team as well. So what I've found is when people see myself as very efficient, their trust is already there about what I'm telling, the tips that I'm sharing with them. That's what I've found. So it's a kind of results-based system, really. You could put it that way. Is if they see that I'm performing well, and I'm always saying that, well, actually, I have to be organized in order to be you know, achieve good results, then they naturally kind of buy into that anyway, I would say. So like I said, luckily I'm already there myself, so it's a lot easier. I don't really have to persuade them, if you like.
Yeah, no, a good mentor modeling the right behavior to get the right results. No, I like it. What's been, would you say, your biggest learning as a business owner?
Yeah, this one is, I would say, is actually one of the easiest questions, because the answer is just people.
Okay.
The answer is people. So business is all about people, and that's the one thing I learned, which I didn't know when I first started 7 years ago. And I've learned that very quickly, that actually you need to understand different types of people, and what angles. You know, you have to have emotional intelligence. You have to have a certain degree of social intelligence. You have to be able to relate to people. And yeah, that's it. It's just people. Like, I've done a lot of networking, Hannah, you know, locally and regionally, and being exposed to lots of different types of people in high volumes, in high intensity, you know, 1 hour, 2 hour sessions is pretty good way of doing it. So that's something I'll share with your viewers, that if you are starting a business, if you want to really be successful, you have to learn about people. You have to know about how to talk to certain types of people in different situations. And you know, people are complex, right? So the more you learn about people, I think it correlates with how good you are as a business leader.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you, if you could give one bit of advice or one tip or one book to read about understanding people, about developing themselves personally around that exact subject, is there something that was a bit of a light bulb moment for you on that?
Yeah, well, I think the light bulb moment came through experience.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily reading a book or a podcast. It was more being in an environment. Like I said, as architects, we're not really used to that. We're creative people, really. We like you know, the drawing board, the computer. We like sketching, the sketch pad. You know, these are the things that we like. But really, we're not trained in people. So I think I naturally had that moment. transitioning from architecture to the business leader. I think I had that. So yeah, in terms of books that can help with that, I think, to be honest, more than books, I would say YouTube was quite a big help on that. There's a channel that I follow called Valuetainment on YouTube, and the chap on there is a very successful business owner in America, and he says it exactly how I think it, Hannah. So I would never ever have to build a YouTube channel, because he's already said exactly what I think. So
Yeah.
he's got quite a few videos on this about how to network and how to learn about people. So I would say check out his channel. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely will do. No, thank you for sharing that. And we always end on the biggest question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And do you have any words of advice for other business owners who are looking to grow?
Yeah, I think 5 years is going to be super exciting for Drawing Desk. I think we're starting to gain a lot of traction now in terms of the work we're doing and the recognition for the work, because, as you know, Hannah, we don't really do any PR. So our work is all based on the projects that we deliver. It's all based on the quality of our designs, the customer experience, and of course the building itself, the physical real estate. So we're in a great position. We've just won a contract for a local youth centre in Coventry. So my focus in the last 2 years has been to do what we're doing, but do it locally. I want us to have, it's a bit of an architect thing, Hannah, to have a local landmark to say, yeah, I designed that.
Yeah,
so
is that like a
it's a bit of a thing with architects.
Yeah.
Every designer wants a landmark. So I've got one in Birmingham. I've got various landmarks across the country, as far as Scarborough, as far down as London, Devon, but even in Snowdonia. But like here I haven't actually got one locally. So this project is coming. It's a youth centre. It's a 1970s concrete block. So you could say it's a blank canvas for us to work on, and they've got funding to redevelop the whole site. And we've just done the initial design on that, and we're working with the local planning authority to collaborate and see how they feel about the whole redevelopment. So that in 5 years time, those kind of projects we're getting are going to be delivered, they're going to be completed, and people are going to be in that space. So that's going to be very exciting. And of course, just building a team. I love building my team, the culture. I'm always excited to do that, and hopefully the thing that I hope comes in 5 years is more collaboration with the local authorities, on their own commissions on public sector buildings, libraries, museums, the arts and culture sector, these kind of buildings where they need redeveloping and they're looking for an architectural firm. That would be amazing, actually. So I've also made a note here. It's something that a little teaser, really. So in Coventry, on the projects that we're working on, so that youth centre included, we're going to bring a new style of architecture to the city.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't share what the name
I
is.
was about to say, can you give us any more info?
I can't share the name, not yet. But later in a couple of years, Hannah. I'm really excited because I'm locally from there, and Coventry's known for its brutalist architecture, mass concrete, and most people view it as ugly. Let's be honest, it's grey, it's very bland, and it's a great moment for us as a practice, I think, to bring in a new style. So and that's very it's a very, I must say, it's a very big goal, because to change what a city's known for architecturally is a massive ask, actually. So that's where I want to be in 5 years, Hannah. In 5 years, if I could achieve all that, I'd be very happy. Yeah.
That's beyond putting a landmark in your local town. That's putting your stamp, your heart, your soul into your local city. So that's phenomenal. Okay, I won't dig any deeper. I shall wait. I shall wait. Any pieces of advice for any other business owners looking to grow, Parminder?
I think yeah, I think it's just be yourself. It's your own personality. Don't feel that, even though we all absorb books and literature, YouTube, podcast, everything, that's great. It builds your knowledge, your confidence. That's great. But I think just be yourself. Like, so I'm in terms of personality, I'm more of a spiritual person, and some of the principles of spirituality, I don't mind that, bringing that into the company. So the biggest sort of macro level example is actually the work that we win, the commissions. Like I said, we don't do PR. So how do we actually get work? Well, in a way, you could call that manifestation or good karma. So these are the things. That's me. And I won't go into that too much, but yeah, that's me. And that's just me being myself. And I mentioned that actually at work in my team, and at first they did look at me a bit funny, but now they're used to it, and they get it now. It works. But that's just me. Like, not everyone has to be spiritual, but just be yourself. That's the best advice I think I've ever heard. And the 3 words that I would pass on to your viewers is just be yourself. Definitely.
I love that. I love it. It reminds me of what's the saying? Just be yourself because everybody else is taken.
Absolutely. Yeah. And my favorite quote is the greatest competition is yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Parminder, it's been an absolute joy to hear about your business journey, offering insights. There's loads of learnings, loads of hints and tips, and we'll check out that YouTube channel as well. I can't thank you enough for your time today. I can't wait to share this with our local community, which is in fact Coventry and Warwickshire. So we will get that out. Thank you, Parminder. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah.